Right, so it's the first video in a while. I'm sorry for taking so long to make another video. The weather hasn't been the greatest and work's been busy, and it's a beautiful day today, so I thought I'd just come out and do a video on the Victorinox farmer. If you watched the last video I did on showcasing things you can make simply with a pocket knife, which might aid you in practicing fieldcraft and bushcraft and stuff like that, you'll know that I put this in high regards as being a perfect knife for general bushcraft and outdoor tasks. The video is mostly going to be about showcasing the awl, which I think this is after the blade, my second most used tool, especially for outdoor use and fieldcraft and bushcraft and stuff, because this awl, compared to the standard Swiss Army knife awl, is a much more superior design. If you can say it's a very substantial compared to that one. The angle it comes out at is, I think, more usable than trying to use it like this on the standard Swiss Army knife models. So I'm just going to showcase using that to make a peg, also using the saw which is a little bit thicker and a bit longer than on standard models, and the blade, which again is a bit longer and a lot thicker than your standard Swiss Army knife models. Very comfortable knife, bit heavier for everyday carry, but a really good tool for making snare pegs and items that are using the awl to make shooting sticks and so on. So there's more in-depth reviews on YouTube on this knife, but I just thought I'd do a video showcasing the saw, the blade and the awl, especially the awl, to show you how I would go about using it to bore holes in wood and stuff. One criticism I do have of this knife, just before I put that in there, which a lot of reviews don't mention, is because of the inclusion of the saw, the nail nick for the main blade is rather hidden, so it doesn't allow as much purchase with the nail. You can manage, but it's not as easy to get out as the standard models, because the nail nicks are a lot more revealed than on that model. As you can see, the saw sort of cuts away the nail nick a bit. But I'll cut to the next clip. It'll be me showing you how to make or how I'll go about making a peg for snaring and so on. Really nice knife, like I say. And like I say, there's more in-depth reviews. This is more just an overview of using certain tools on the knife. So I'll get back to you in a minute. Right, so I'm back, and I've just got an off-cut hazel, which I'm going to have to trim down to make it into a peg. Like I said in the last video, even though the Victorinox knives come with a saw, like many models do anyway, I still prefer to carry more of a true folding saw, which I've actually got on me. I'd much rather carry that alongside this knife, because as good as the saws are, they're a bit short regardless for many tasks compared to this blade. This is just a Japanese folding saw, but this allows a lot better cutting, especially just things like this. This cuts them better than this does, but if this is the only saw you've got on you, it's adequate for the job. So I'm just going to take you through using the awl to make a peg. But first I'm going to trim this down with the saw. And I've decided to use dry wood, because even though it's harder to use, it'll show you the ruggedness of the tools on this knife. Best thing to do is just sort of work your way around the piece with the saw until you're able to simply snap off the remainder. See how that's done. So we've cut most of it off. We'll just trim that off with the knife. But one criticism of this knife I can't get around is the fact they've put a nail nick on this side as opposed to that side. The problem is with the saw, don't mind the rustle, that's just the dog. They put the saw here, so most of the nail nicks cut off by the saw. So unless you've got decently long nails, it can be sometimes a bit of a struggle to get the blade out, but we'll just use the blade to trim this off. We'll use this as the peg side. Let's trim it off. That should do it. Let's do that. What we'll do now is we'll square off 2 edges on each side near the top, and this is where we'll use this is the part of this where we'll bore through for attaching a snare or trap or anything like that. So we'll just use the knife to square off this section here. Like that. And the other side will do the exact same. Try to keep them about the same. What this also does is it also thins out the material, so it's a bit easier to bore through the ore. So we'll just do that. So we've done both sides, and that'll allow it to go through halfway on this side, halfway on this side. So we'll get the all out, and we're going to do more of a scooping drilling action, because utilising the single bevel, and these are ridiculously sharp when you get them. I did put an awl through that part of my hand. You can just see the scar there, a good few years ago, using a tool incorrectly, funny enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the centre point. We're just going to start it all off just by wiggling like that. And like I say, this is a lot easier with green wood, but I'm just going to show you with a piece of seasoned hazel, because it's normally when they're green. And you see how much we're bored through there. Good thing with green wood is that the grain more shreds and just clogs up and goes hard like a seasoned piece of wood. So we've got a sizable hole started. We're roughly about halfway now. Roughly about halfway. So what we'll do is we'll try and line up as best as we can. So I think we're about there. And start the process again. And like I say, if you're using smaller stakes, this is obviously a lot easier. But this is the same method you could use to make a set of shooting sticks on the fly. I think we've broken through because the tips just showing there. Hopefully this isn't focused. The tips just started there, so we'll just keep on going. This is when we'll start using more of a scooping action to enlarge the hole all the way through. Use the oil to clear it out. And I've done this for many years, and like I say, there's no blade play on this oil at all. I've had more of the conventional Swiss Army knives oils go wobbly after a matter of months just by doing this on a regular basis. And it's a lot more stout. And because of the groove, you can actually use this to sew through leather, which I've done before. I've sewn little leather pouches using this as a punch. Now, as you can see, we've now bored a hole in no time at all. What we can use is we can use the blade, the tip of the blade, to just square out and clean up this edge, stop fraying if we're using cordage. And excuse the awkwardness, I'm trying to work around the camera, but so I've done that side. This is a lot easier if you've got a knife with a smaller pen blade. You have to obviously be very careful doing this. Like you see, bore a hole through it. Try to clean up the edges. Now we'll just use the blade to chamfer the edge so we don't cause mushrooming when hammering it into the ground. Like that. That should hopefully stop it from mushrooming out when we pound this into the ground. The last bit now is just the point off the end. In all fairness, this knife could do with a bit more of a touch up on the edge with a strop, but that shouldn't be too hard because Victorinox steel is relatively soft as far as stainless goes, and it's like a high carbon stainless, so it holds an edge well, but it doesn't take long to put a keen edge back on it. Very easy to work rules out of it if you happen to rule the steel or rule the edge even. So we'll just get this up to a crude point, obviously keeping out of the kill zone in between my legs, and working the knife towards the outside of our body and away from us and away from anyone else. That's just a bit crude. I could take it further down, but for a demonstration it's not really worth it. But now we've got quite a substantial peg for using with snares or traps, or even for tenting out tarps and tents and things like that. So that was just a little quick video, not much of a review, more of an overview on the Victorinox Farmer, which I truly think, as well as being a great EDC knife, it's a great everyday carry knife for the fields and the woods. And even with this spear point design, it's good for skinning and things like that, because there isn't much of a sharp point to pierce internal organs and things like that. And I really think what makes this knife special for outdoor fieldcraft use is the awl. That's just one thing you could use. You could also make, like I say, the shooting sticks and other items which might require an awl. Very substantial blade tool, great camp knife. Like I say, you've got the other items which can be used for camping and things like that, and outdoors. The saw works well for what you would need a saw of this size for, making trap triggers and things like that. Just a great sturdy pocket knife, which if you could only have one pocket knife for everything you might find yourself doing, from opening letters at work or making stakes in the woods, I really think you couldn't go much wrong with the Victorinox Farm. They make a new model with scissors which would be very handy, and another problem is it doesn't have the tweezers and the toothpick, but I don't think that's an off-putting selling point. But so yeah, that was just a quick video. I haven't done any videos in a while, so I apologise for that. The weather hasn't been the greatest, so I took the time today on my day off to get out and do a quick overview. There's far better reviews of this knife on the internet, but I just thought I'd do a bit of an overview showcasing the awl. Obviously we've used the saw and the knife, but thought I'd show the awl being used. So I really think that's one of the greatest tools a knife can have, is an awl. So I say thank you for watching. Thank you for keeping with me and bearing with me. I haven't been able to make any material, so thank you for bearing with me. It's very encouraging when people stay and encourage me to keep on making videos. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment and share, and I'll see you on the trail again.